Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Hmm? Must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. We? Are you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way you can... hey! Is that 4 now? I think that's 4. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? Just going to roll over and accept your fate? If you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we think? Oh, don't you think? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Didn't I click on everything already? The situation doesn't look good for me. There's still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Huh? Isn't that? Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? No, it's just that crewman standing by the door. Can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? Oh, I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosanaka. It's been 2 weeks. Was he not roaming around before? Where was he the whole time? Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. Guilty as charged. So stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders, again, to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again. Again. You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. Perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. What's up, buddy? So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Oh, good gracious. Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Undercover again, are we? You have a pension for those. I'm so sorry. Huh? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as the Sogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. Minister of Justice. We keep hearing that. And Jigoku is hell in Japanese. That's not dubious. I wonder if Japanese players picked up on that. I'm not sure. English, I can see why it would go over your head, but Japanese, not sure. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached in Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board. From morning until night, every day. And I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. A disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. I'll be flawless! Oh, well, yeah, could you hit me up, bro? We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. Thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! Why would anybody admit they're the killer? Well, if they want to hold themselves accountable, be my guest, but usually... We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. Well, I need to. Sorry. What? Been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, the stormy-looking seaman there will surely snap your neck in two. He hasn't said anything this whole time, what the heck? I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. I think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my whole life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... Hello? There may be a way. What? Really? We've been through this, Ryunosuke. Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already have in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it so many times during your trial. Simply... So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with evidence that he needs to persuade the captain. Alright then, you want proof? I'll show you proof. We're just sharing his diary. It's not awkward. Always invasive. It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. What I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we may be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. Stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of crime, you see. I have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. It's the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Oh gosh. Alright. Freedom! Freedom! Shit, that was an eventful morning, wasn't it? Look at that. Oh, finally out of their cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. It's the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being led on his study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. It's another crewman keeping watch. It looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. Suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. Suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. Been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes. The thing is, I was inside in Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. Ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. I'm used to it at this point. Well, there was something that caught my eye. Shoot. Do you like cheese? A trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Chalk? Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called, cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. How do you mistake cheese for chalk? Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. Seriously, you need to stop thinking about eating dubious things. First the water, and now the cheese. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of days is Kazuma's leftovers. But hey, I had a chicken all to myself. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. I really do feel like your pet right now. What do you think this is? This is a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's an emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship. It brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it! But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. I need to get out of here. I thought, well, that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Hello there, sir. Wait, let me check the map. Okay, give me a moment. This looks like a plan of the SS Burio. It shows each dock. Look. Deck! The Burio is a large-scale steamship with triple skin hull. What a marvel of engineering! It's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. Suppose this happened before the Titanic. It is. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many times as larger than the ship. They don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. It's fair. There's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Well, he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer! That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. Seems to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff. Ooh, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Don't look, don't look. Mr. Shogunov, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Burio steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganov is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, Is the cabin next to Mr. Sorgi's currently occupied? Da! Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius! It's yes, by the way. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Sorgi's? His name is Mr. Grimesby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. That was rude. Insignificant. Could you tell us where Mr. Roylott came aboard? Or when? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Cosmic's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin. I haven't felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Niet! Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. So nothing unusual. Nothing at all. You didn't hear any strange noises? Or sense anything was wrong in some way, sir? I said no! Sorry. It's just you were looking away. Very suspicious. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when lobsters whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly. Is that a real phrase? The lobsters? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I get it. Sheesh. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Snoop. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote and he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. Where'd Sholmes go? How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside! Oh. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Isn't the bolt inside? How can you... Okay, never mind. And how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Kicks in anyway. I don't know, it looked like it to me. You! Who are you? A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. How does someone look Russian? Well, he's got a glorious beard, I'll tell you that. And a lovely schnoz. Well, we heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd! As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. Sort of man does appear to be the only person here. I don't know, is there someone else in the wardrobe? Oh wait, I didn't see. But in that case, who just screamed? Anybody under the table? Oh, no one in the wardrobe, okay. Under the bed? Get out! All of you! Now! Old man, he doesn't look... Okay. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. No. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small travelling case? What? Don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Travelling inside one's trunk? Dude, don't look at me. Aha! Why? Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now! Otherwise I'll call the steward! So this is Casimir's neighbour, Mr. Grimesby Lord Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something. Couldn't agree more. See if we can find some clues before their burly sailor returns. Dude, what are you doing? I can't with this guy. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. waiting for the inevitable time that you will need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh, and it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host here in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. Do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. It should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! Well then, what are you about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? Bro, that's offensive. I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. And that's on prejudice. Shh! I must have complete silence! What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you release and realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Another holocaust. I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Show's great deductions with my own eyes. Okay, breathe, Subtle. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. A single glance he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. I just can't speak right now. It's like a dream come true. Sweetie, I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It's all purple. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say. Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. Oh, the theatre of it all. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. There's the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. How dare you! Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why do you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that holds your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before we gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Conclusion, a revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that travelling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse! What could you possibly concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein. What, like a baby? Don't be absurd! And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the travelling case? Dear me, you're not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your travelling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Conclusion, kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky